A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. As the world prepares for the Group of 20 summit in Johannesburg, South Africa, authorities are bracing for potential protests from local and international activists. With the summit set to attract leaders from over 40 countries, including top diplomats and representatives from major global institutions, South African police and military units showcase their readiness through a parade featuring helicopters, K-9 units, and motorcycle officers. In a significant move to ensure security, 3,500 additional police officers have been deployed, and the Army is on standby as part of the National Joint Operational and Intelligence Structure, which unifies police, military, and intelligence forces for major events. Deputy National Commissioner for Policing, Lieutenant General Tabelo Masekile, stated that while authorities expect protests, they will respect the right to protest as long as it adheres to legal guidelines. Specific areas have been designated for demonstrations near the summit venue, which is located next to South Africa's largest soccer stadium. The airports company South Africa has also established speakers' corners at international airports to manage any protests that may arise during the arrival of world leaders. The two-day summit, commencing this Saturday, is anticipated to draw attention to critical global issues, including climate change, debt sustainability for poorer nations, and rising inequality. However, the event is already overshadowed by the boycott of U.S. President Donald Trump, who has criticized South Africa's government and alleged discrimination against the Afrikaner minority. Trump's absence raises concerns about the summit's effectiveness, as the U.S. is a founding member of the G20 and is expected to take over the rotating presidency. In Johannesburg, the atmosphere is charged with anticipation and tension. Various activist groups are planning demonstrations to highlight pressing issues such as poverty, women's rights, and climate action. The Women for Change advocacy group has called for a national shutdown on Friday, urging women to boycott work and protest against South Africa's alarming rates of violence against women. Their statement emphasizes that until the country addresses the femicide crisis, discussions of growth and progress at the G20 are meaningless. Meanwhile, an anti-immigration group plans to protest against high unemployment rates, which currently stand at 31%, one of the highest in the world. Additionally, a coalition of climate activists is organizing an alternative summit, arguing that the G20 primarily serves the interests of the wealthy. Amidst the protests, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has been actively involved in a cleanup operation in Johannesburg, donning green overalls to assist in repairs and improvements to the city's infrastructure. This multi-million-dollar initiative aims to address the city's long-standing issues, including broken roads and inadequate services. However, many residents express skepticism, believing that hosting the G20 summit will not benefit ordinary South Africans and is merely a waste of resources. As world leaders gather in Johannesburg, the absence of key figures such as Trump, Russian President Vladimir Putin, and Chinese President Xi Jinping raises questions about the summit's potential impact. The International Criminal Court has issued an arrest warrant for Putin, compelling South Africa to act if he were to attend. In contrast, Xi has opted to send Premier Li Qiang as his representative. Despite the challenges posed by the U.S. boycott, South Africa's Foreign Minister, Ronald Lamola, remains optimistic about the summit's potential to address global issues. He emphasizes that it is an opportunity to demonstrate that the world can progress without the U.S. involvement. Lamola acknowledges that achieving a consensus will be difficult but insists that it is possible with cooperation among member nations. The summit's agenda includes pressing topics such as climate resilience and financial support for developing nations facing the impacts of climate change. An expert panel has recommended that G20 countries and the International Monetary Fund adopt measures to assist poor nations with their debt. The African Union, a member of the G20, plans to advocate for African countries struggling with climate-related challenges. As the summit approaches, leaders from France, Germany, the United Kingdom, and UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres have confirmed their attendance, signaling continued support for the G20's objectives. Guterres has expressed his commitment to working within the G20 framework to advance essential reforms in the international financial system and promote sustainable development in Africa. In summary, The G20 summit in South Africa is set against a backdrop of protests, boycotts, and a focus on critical global issues. As leaders convene, the effectiveness of the summit may hinge on their ability to navigate the complex dynamics of international relations and address the pressing challenges facing the world today. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.